Dragon Ball Z, Batman the Animated Series, and Looney Tunes. So
Yes.
talk to us about how those three shows have shaped your storytelling style.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's newsman,
And if you were just
Logan
trying to
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving deep into the sci-fi universe with illustration artist and author Jamaal Lee. He has penned a wonderful book. It is called Yates, Volume 1. It is an epic sci-fi adventure set on the planet Solar Moon, where grief, identity, and destiny collide. This groundbreaking book follows three unforgettable characters: Yates, an artificial being grappling with loss and purpose; Zion, a human searching for his father amid intergalactic war; and Tamera, a war survivor on a quest to find her sibling across the galaxy. Get ready for a conversation and a book about world building, animation, art, and how one artist from New Jersey created a universe that's capturing readers' imaginations. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Jamaal, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show. Great work on this book. I understand the character Yates was actually developed a long time ago when you were still in school. Tell us about that.
Yes, when I was 15 years old, approximately back in 2010, I was still in high school. And I remember I was asked about creating my first character for my actual teacher, my art teacher, who happens to be Miss Yeats. Her name, Yeats. She actually inspired me with his name. I actually named him mistakenly by mispronouncing and misspelling her name incorrectly. But when I thought about creating my first character, I initially was going to make him based loosely on myself. But then I said, no, let me make something more sci-fi. Because as the book is, I grew up with sci-fi fictional and animation. So I initially came up with the idea of an artificial being, a robot. I looked
Very,
at
very,
issue.
very cool and very prescient, because that was 2010, before all the talk of AI, before everybody had ChatGPT on their phones and stuff. And you were already thinking about an artificial being with artificial intelligence, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct, right,
Yeah.
right.
That's great. That's excellent. That's what sci-fi is supposed to do. It's supposed to predict the future, and yours has, which is pretty wonderful, at least in part anyway. Now, you decided to write a novel as opposed to a graphic novel, right?
The thing about this book is it's sort of in between both. Initially, I was going to make a comic book, but I decided to go the format of a graphic novel instead. It felt more, mm, it felt more feeling for me at the time. Initially, I didn't know how to go about the issues because I myself don't really have too many comic books here at the house. I kind of grew up predominantly whatever I could get off my uncle, um, Thomas at the time, whatever he had available, which was Spider-Man issues, Batman issues, or I had to do my own research of going to the library and see what was available. So, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've combined images along with your writing, your prose, to tell the story, not in a comic book form, but more in a graphic novel form, which is awesome. And this is book one, so I presume more books are coming?
Yes, I already have them creatively lined up in a sense. I'm currently working on the third one actually, and I'm eyeing to make those perhaps more issues per se.
Very cool, very cool. You talk in the book about Yates being transformed from a child into an artificial being. Talk to us about how that happens.
So I have it at somewhere in the storyline that's not too explained, but it will be down the line, is that he becomes a part of an experiment for an organization that's in the story. And their objective is sort of on some world domination, or also in the midst of trying to further advance and improve technology as we are right now, currently in reality. He just happens to be sadly used as a test subject, and
Mm,
a successful one at that. But in the midst, he still has this sense of consciousness of who he's trying to figure out who he is exactly. And I
mm.
explain that down the line in future volumes.
Very
Or
cool, very cool. The book explores themes of grief and identity crisis. Why did you choose to explore those themes?
I chose those themes because they're very present in my life. During the time of when I created my character, I experienced the grief of when I lost my grandfather.
Mm,
So I wasn't never really able to show him my character compared to my mother and my grandmother. And over the years, I just experienced three other major griefs: my grandmother, a friend, and another distant relative.
yeah.
So I chose that along with identity because there's some things, there's some aspects of my own life where I'm still trying to identify and figure out, as we all are, of course, in life. I'm still young. I'm still trying to figure things out through the course of when I was in college and middle school, love, and also, of course, my career. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I understand you had some influences in your life and influences on your work, including Dragon Ball Z, Batman the Animated Series, and Looney Tunes. So,
Yes.
talk to us about how those three shows have shaped your storytelling style.
They shaped my storytelling style in the sense of, hmm, I want to say grief again because it's understood that why Bruce Wayne became Batman in the first place with the loss of his parents.
Right.
So I wanted to explore that, and I also wanted to explore the comedy side. The side of which in life where one day at a time, despite the hardships that we may experience, I'd rather laugh before crying. And I know
Mm.
Looney Tunes, I can always find myself laughing. It's never a dull moment or time anywhere where I find a great sense of humor, and they provide that all the time. So I took it from a sense of justice with Batman, and then also grief, and then with the Looney Tunes, a sense of just being loony and being thankful and grateful for life, and just find a well balance between humor.
Yeah.
So
And I guess Dragon Ball Z is kind of the sci-fi aspect of it all.
yes,
Yeah.
so with Dragon Ball Z, because I was definitely about to get to that one. Dragon Ball Z, it experiences that too, especially if you go back to the original series before Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball. The adventure and then the grief that comes with certain loss. But thankfully in that show, you can wish somebody back, with the Dragon Balls. In reality, you
There's
know,
no wishing them back. You can wish, but nothing's going to happen, unfortunately, right?
yes, I can
Yeah.
only enjoy the time I had with you, thank God, and keep it pushing from there.
Yeah.
But with Dragon Ball Z, it was definitely the characters. I love that Goku always had a sense of not judgment but forgiveness. So that also went with the grief, because there came some times in my life where I had to, of course, as many of us do, forgive to move on in the process of healing. And I know with some of the villains that he had initially in the series, they eventually became his comrades, his friends.
Mm.
And I believe that would also something I'm going to implement with Yates. There are going to be some people where they're they have good intentions, but they're on the wrong side. They're on the
Yeah.
wrong, side of the leaf. But
Have you envisioned your books being transformed into either animated films or live action?
animation, absolutely. Live action, that's something I would love to see in the future.
Yeah.
But I'm just sticking to the animation right now because I'm so excited. Because I know animation is endless. There's endless potential, possibilities. You can just go creatively. Sometimes when it comes to live, you try to be realistic as possible
Mm. Yeah,
and too
exactly.
exaggerated.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be an awesome animated either series or series of films because they're such inventive, imaginative stories with great characters and settings. I think it would be terrific to see that come to life on the big screen. Even if that big screen is in your home, that's not a bad place to watch it either.
Oh
That's
yeah,
for sure.
of course.
Yeah, because nobody goes to the movie theater much anymore, it seems, unless it's a Marvel movie. And this kind of fits in that genre a little bit. So you never know. You never know. That would be great, without a doubt. Talk to us about Zion and the challenges Zion faces growing up as a human in a world dominated by hybrids.
The challenges that Zion faces are, hmm, he does, and some I haven't. It's not going to be shown in this book, but future volumes is that he will come across like a sense of discrimination.
Hmm.
Because he's going to be considered foreign because he's from Earth, and on their planet they're welcoming, but they've taken him and a percentage of the human populace as I would say like refugees.
Mm.
They're residing there. They've been residing on that planet for quite some time over the years, especially before his birth. But through his lens of his eyes, I'm going to be kind of just scripting. I mean, I'm going to be showing, uh, in the sense of being certain hostile environments
Mhm.
where he's being mistreated for being a human or not even being a hybrid. And I have it in the book too. Scratch, his best friend, is a hybrid. He appears fully to be like a cat uh, type type being, but he is part human. So eventually, I'll showcase his side. But Zion is going to be definitely facing like that type of challenge of discriminative of not being a hybrid or an alien and being considered a foreign creature or human from Earth. And then there is also going to be there's going to be like this narrative I'm going to put about an absent father. That's
Mm.
kind of see a little bit in this book where he kind of questions his father's whereabouts is. So that's something I also want to touch on. It's something relatable to me in my life. My father, my mother, they weren't exactly married, but they were a couple, and he was present as much as he could because he was sadly sickly, and
Mm.
he did pass when I was young. But I
Mm.
thank God that I did have my grandparents, or my grandfather, and some uncles and other positive male figures that were in my life that I wouldn't say necessarily filled the void. I mean, well, yeah, filled the void in terms of making sure I stayed as a great young man and
Mm.
child at that. But respectfully took me under their wing as a son, but wasn't trying to be my father, if you get what I'm
Right.
saying. But
Right.
still took me in like, this is the proper way of being a man and taking care and doing the rightful duties as a man. And I
Great.
will get that way with Zion.
Wonderful, wonderful. So book one is Yates. Will book two be Zion and book three be Tamara? Is that where we're going right now?
Book two, when I get to volume two, it's going to be a mixture of both Zion and Yates.
Hmm.
Book three will be Tamera. She's
Yeah,
going to kind of literally almost to the back burner just a bit for now, but excitingly, because her story is very important as well.
absolutely, absolutely. Is there a message? What would you like readers to take away from the book?
The message I have from this book is to identify yourself without anyone having to do that. Know your self purpose. And most importantly, love yourself, self
I
identify.
guess self-acceptance is part of that message as well.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course, self acceptance. Because there are going to be some aspects where it's like he comes across another, talking about Zion, I mean Yates, I'm sorry. He comes across another character that's not truly accepting of him just yet until something happens. And I thank God, like eventually they turn a leaf and they come back together as one. But
Wonderful.
acceptance, self-identifying, and having
Yeah.
a sense of adventure.
Absolutely. And just the thrill of it, the entertainment of it all, and the great world building and the great stories. I think you did a fantastic job here. We've been talking about a terrific series today, focusing on book one. It is called Yates Volume One. It is an epic sci fi adventure set on the planet Solar Moon, where grief, identity, and destiny collide. Jamaal, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
I appreciate your time, your insight, and your great work you've done on these books. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.
Take care.